Gavin, thank you for taking the time to be part of the discussion. To start, if you could just tell us about yourself, your career and your role at HSBC.
Thank you, Rowan, and thank you for having me here. So as you mentioned, my name is Gavin Munro, and I'm the Global CIO for Wealth and Personal Banking at HSBC. I'm leading teams across 30 different countries servicing our retail and personal and private banking customers, and also our asset management and insurance business lines. I've been fortunate to be in the technology industry for most of my career, from fintechs to retail to financial. And I'm excited about the journey that the financial industry is currently going through. We're in a transformation journey. I think it's well known that finance is going through this journey, which is one of the factors that attracted me to HSBC.
Thank you. And in the transformation you're taking, what would you say your top priorities are for the next 12 to 24 months?
What we'd like to do in 2021 is solidify that digital strategy and accelerate it even more. I think the pandemic has shown us that it's the right strategy, and we have to move faster at pace to roll out what we're calling bank in a pocket. That's to provide basically the services, world-class services and world-class products to our customers when they want it and how they want it. That's the first thing. We also got to do it at pace and at scale. We've got a global footprint, and it's imperative that we can reach that global audience at pace as we roll out this digital strategy. And then thirdly, we've got to do it in a resilient, safe and scalable way. That's leading us towards a cloud roadmap. And then last but not least, leveraging the skill sets that we have in our organization, training the right skill sets, working with partners like AWS to get certification in cloud and things like that. So getting the right skill sets in the right places, enabling us to accelerate our digital adoption journey at scale.
And how do you see technology enabling the way you can roll out new and develop new services?
For HSBC to operate in an efficient, resilient, and scalable and innovative way on the public cloud is key to our success. As I mentioned, our global footprint, for us to achieve that adoption plan globally, we've got to rely on cloud as a lever to execute that business strategy.
And how do you see customer expectations driving the way you transform and use technology?
I think customer expectations have continued to evolve. Even pre-pandemic, we saw the evolution of the customer. I think during this COVID period, it's just accelerated that. And it's up to us to stay in pace with the customer expectation. We've seen the adoption of our digital channels and our mobile platform has accelerated during COVID. Even now with our branches reopening, we can see that the volumes in our branches and call centers has not returned to pre-pandemic levels. So we know we're on the right track. We know we've got to continue to build out our services, build out our offerings for the bank in a pocket strategy, and then leverage that and scale it into the global market as we move forward.
So Gavin, digital creates new opportunities to serve your customer, and COVID has accelerated decision-making. Be interesting to see how you've led your teams through this difficult time.
Yeah, I don't think there was any rule book or any manual for leadership during this COVID crisis, this lockdown crisis. We've had to, in some cases, for example, in our call center agents, we had to enable them to work from home overnight. We had to do that globally, from China to Mexico to US to Africa. Even in our development teams, while most of our development teams had work at home capabilities, to turn that on overnight and have that capacity on standby wasn't easy. So we've done a lot of work to enable our workforce, both in technology and in the business, to be able to work from home. But when we got to new ideas and new projects and new innovative parts of the projects, it became a little harder. There wasn't that foundational glue holding those teams together. So we've had to focus on connection points, over-communicating, making sure teams are collaborating and making sure we have the right teams in the room when we kicked off new projects. That has been a lesson learned during this whole COVID experience.
Gavin, I know we're in the middle of the pandemic and hopefully getting to the end of this complex time and challenging time for many people, but what would you say, given the experiences you've had as a leader in the pandemic, leading many people in many parts of the world, what would you say your top 3 lessons learned are from this experience?
I think the speed of decision making, finding out where the decisions need to be made and empowering those decision makers. To accelerate our digital journey, like I mentioned previously in 2020 and in 2021, we've had to cut a lot of the bureaucracy out of the organization and accelerate those decision points. And that's probably the first thing, and we want to definitely keep that going forward. The other thing is, I think the stresses and the downside of the lockdown and work from home is well documented. I think what we've focused on is making sure that the resources are available to our staff. They know where to go if they need help. They know where to go if they need those resources. Because that's one of the most important things in lockdown is maintaining the health of our workforce. And then last but not least, I think we know coming out of COVID pandemic, it's going to be different. It's not going to be like we went into COVID, but we don't know what it looks like yet. So I think that's part of the journey we're defining now, and we're engaging and participating to try to find what the new norm looks like coming out of COVID.
Gavin, you've talked about how you're leading the transformation of the wealth and personal banking business across HSBC technology landscape, driving digital transformation and looking to build more personalized banking services. Obviously, you've selected AWS to be part of a partner of that journey. Just keen to understand what triggered that decision.
When you look at the WPB strategy around scale, resiliency, security, and innovation on the cloud, to enable our business objectives, we had to find the right partner that could partner with us, had the scale, had the global footprint. It was an obvious choice that AWS could partner with us to do that.
AWS is excited to be working with HSBC and particularly WPB to help you deliver your projects and programs. Can you tell us a bit about how you're using AWS services?
So we think about our cloud journey in three phases. First, we have the initialization phase. Then we have the scaling phase and the strategic phase. We are basically exiting the first phase, the initiation phase. In that phase, we define the policies, procedures, governance, security, containerization, all those things. We've got about 15 to 20% of our volumes in WPB going through at AWS. As we move to look at the scaling phase and then the strategic phase, we ask ourselves maybe 4 questions. We have to be able to execute in all of our countries we operate in, 47 countries. We have to be able to scale the offerings for our digital bank in your pocket. We've got to secure our customers and our customers' assets. And we've got to enable interactions and offerings when the customer wants to do it and where the customer wants to do it. When you think about those 4, can we achieve them with the legacy data centers? Probably. But the question then becomes scale and cost. Can we do it at the scale and the pace we need to with our accelerated digital adoption? And at what cost? We don't want to be present in every country. And in some countries, we do need to be present for regulatory requirements. So I think cloud and AWS gives us a great platform to do that. When we looked at AWS as a partner, they operate in the same countries we operate in. They've got the same scale that we're looking for, and they've got the innovation to help us drive that adoption in those markets. So it became an obvious choice.
Gavin, how is migrating to AWS allowing you to automate key processes and improve operational efficiency?
So firstly, when you look at our open architecture provisioning, we're using Amazon Kubernetes Services, EKS. This has helped us do our open control plane to do our orchestration of the APIs across the enterprise. Secondly, we look at our self-healing. We've basically been able to build an SHP layer, a service hosting platform, that has allowed us to code engineer chaos into it. It has allowed us to self-heal during various conditions and increase our stability and resiliency. And then thirdly, but not last, is our policy as code. When we look at our compliance and security, we've coded it into our policy. So that allows us to apply the policies and apply the adherence to those policies early in the provisioning of either the testing environment or dev environment. We can ensure we've got compliance early on in the lifecycle, which has helped us to accelerate faster.
Gavin, from a cultural point of view, given you work across so many countries, regions and cultures, how do you motivate your teams to work in an agile and fast-paced environment?
Yeah, Rowan, I think the cultural transformation is one of the exciting parts of this journey. When we look at our organization, we wanted to empower the teams, and we wanted to basically identify the decision makers. So what we've done is we've basically flipped the organization on its side. So a lot of people will say they have done this in the organization, but our approach was to define primacy and primacy of delivery. To do that, we organized the entire tech group in WPB around delivery. So we identified value chains, and we identified the decision makers in those value chains, and we organized that way. Many legacy organizations are organized around legacy platforms or business face-offs. We changed that all around primacy of delivery. Then we simplified the layers in the organization. We deduped the layers in the organization, so it's easier to get decisions faster. We all have a common purpose on delivery of customer outcomes. That has helped generate the agile transformation. That has helped generate the momentum in the organization. We've also rolled out accelerated scale delivery teams. We've rolled out leadership behaviors program. And And we've also updated what HSBC has, a curriculum, a university curriculum. We've built in there these leadership behaviors and these agile transformation metrics in our leadership teams. So that's helped. And once you do that, the teams just gravitate towards it. You don't have to do much of the encouragement.
Gavin, thank you very much for taking the time to be part of this discussion today.
Thank you, Rowan. I've enjoyed the conversation and look forward to the continued partnership. Thank you.